WCLU news coverage of the 2020 general election is brought to you in part by HVAC Services.
Alexa, HVAC repair services, please.
Professional and friendly, great service and great products. If you want HVAC done right, go with HVAC Services.
Home of the same-day guarantee, with heating and cooling coverage on any brand at any time.
Welcome today to our program. Of course, we talked a little bit about this, but we're going to assign all three of your names. James, Happy, of course, last name Neal.
Mm-hmm.
How are you today?
Good. Glad to be here, yes.
Good. So hopefully you're happy today.
Yes. Try to stay that way.
All right, good
Yes.
deal. Well, of course, you're looking to be reelected to the Glasgow City Council this fall, and we're, of course, wanting to touch, on several things, of course, about your candidacy. But first, let people know a little bit about yourself. Of course.
So a lot of people know me, but I was born and raised here in Glasgow. Went off to school, come back, been at the hospital for 27 years. So got into politics around about 2008.
Good deal.
So that's what I've been up to.
All right. Have you been on the council since 2008?
Since 2008, yes.
All right. So talk a little bit about what you have, what you've seen since 2008 to now.
There's been some changes, but then there's other changes not good, which, I guess we'll talk about that. But, it'd been some different look around here in Glasgow. We know we need more industry and stuff like that. But on the bright side, it seems like jobs are coming back, and, it's like Glasgow looking more, growing a little bit. People are trying to move back in. So, there have been some good things that happened, but it needs to get better.
Sure. Do you feel like since 2008, moving ahead now to this last term here, do you feel like some of those changes, you mentioned some positive, some negative, focusing on some of those negative things, what do you think has led to the,
like the negative things, like, Donnelly's going out, stuff like that. The internet was a big deal in that. I would say, you can't have every state have a book printing company that, so the internet comes in. You can order stuff online. You don't have to get a catalog to do this, or a magazine, online, newspaper. So, the same thing with the newspaper, business going out, closing up. So, the internet has been a big role part in that, moving those companies out. The car industry, back in the 2009, 12, it broke down. So, a lot of our factories moved away to other places. So, that's been a big part of, in this 12 years that's happened, that's called Glasgow, to lose some economic status. That back in the early 80s and 90s, around in there, Glasgow was really booming in the auto industry. So,
Sure.
So
and I've heard different people say that, talk about really it's just the sign of the times more than it is something with Glasgow. I know industry recruitment's been a huge thing for the council, of course. Focusing on this past nearly 2 years, this term here, talk about your involvement in the council. Of course, what do you think you've been heavily involved in? Something you're passionate about that you've tried to work on this term?
I think we've been trying to work on the strategic plan and trying to see if we can get Glasgow to grow, make a new model, look better coming into town, new signs, just different things I'm trying to make uplift to make it look better. Things around the square need to be updated, make it look more presentable, and people will ride around the squares to see the buildings not painted and stuff like that. I think, and fix our roadways and things like that. Parks are getting upgraded, because they were way behind, for the kids to have somewhere to go that looks decent, so at least the parks are getting upgraded. But, it all just goes back to having the funds to do this stuff. So if you don't have economic growth, then you can't do a lot of things. So, we got to have those industries coming in. So we got to get out and attract these industries to come to Glasgow to get that growth that we need to do things around here.
I know another large topic for constituents over the last several years. You having been on the council since 2008, you've kind of seen the evolution of the Glasgow Electric Plant Board.
Yes.
In the several years now. But specifically focusing on the last little bit now that we have some concerted answers out of court and things like that. Talk about your position, now as a council member, given the answers that Judge Alexander has provided. I'm talking like providing the definition of how the council can intervene on that board and moving ahead now.
I mean, the mayor picks the candidate, so we vote on them. They go to the election plant board. But that's their board. I don't think that we can just come in there and just remove them without certain situations and things like that. I think they put on there to serve the community, which I think they should do. But I think they need to work together down there. It's been a lot of back and forth with each other down there, and that's causing a problem for the whole community and the business world and everything, because people look at that like, why would I want to come to Glasgow if, people on the election plant board can't get along, but they got to get along for the community. If you're not there to serve the community, just there for a personal vendetta, then you don't need to be there. I think you shouldn't be on there, but if you got to be there to serve the people, people are fussing, send elections high, whatever. But when you lose much of the industry, have we lost? We lost a lot of industry, that a lot of electric been sold to these places, and we lose that, so that causes a problem. So the rate, it's never going to stay the same, no matter if you go to Bowling Green or Louisville, wherever, the prices goes up over time. It never stays the same. But we got to work harder for people, try to get the industry here to get a price, sell more electric. Maybe the price will go down, and people can afford. And it's and there's two different kind of rates down there, which there's the peak and the not peak. So there's just choices for people that don't like that rate stuff. So you can go to the rate, this flat rate, and it may be a penny or something more, but you don't have to worry about the peak stuff. You can run your air or whatever. You can run your air on the other one, just have to turn it up some. You just have to do some little things with the infrastructure there on that, and instead of the rate. So
yeah, and I know that's been a big thing, of course, with the actual infotricity model.
Mm-hmm.
But really, what I'm getting at now, from a council standpoint, is how I referred to, in another light. This idea now, I think, is somewhat over the ratepayers' heads a bit, because it's very business-like now what's going on. Negotiating contracts and agreements, and trying to build a relationship with TVA or dissolve one. It's kind of the clash right now. So now that you have an answer as a council member, and I'm not saying from side A or side B, whatever your personal views are on that, but do you think it would be appropriate for the council to consider removing someone from that board?
Unless we got really good concrete evidence to do that, yes.
Sure.
If we got the material that said this is what's happening, this is what's going on, yes.
Anything I didn't touch on today that you want people to know, or anything you want to mention?
No, I just hope that, and maybe in the next year or so, economic side of it start picking up, then we can have some growth, and we can spend money on things in the town to upgrade things, stuff like that. I think once that does happen, people get jobs and wages increases, then I think we can start moving forward. Let people always say, you want to be like Bowling Green. Yes, I want to be like Bowling Green on the business side of it, but not on the crime side of it.
Sure.
Yeah, so.
Good deal.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming in today.
All right, thank you.
Of course, wish you the best of luck this
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Brennan Crane, News Director for WCLU Radio. Thank you for watching this portion of our 2020 election coverage. Visit us at WCLUradio.com and online at Facebook and Twitter for the latest and breaking news updates.